Donnie and Dolly. The team is supported by ableauctions.ca. Closing your business? We can help. And King of Floors, your vinyl, laminate, and engineered flooring superstore.
Welcome back, everybody. It is Friday, and all of our guests today are brought to you by Langley Chrysler. Great to have them aboard. Get ready this spring with up to $10,500 off Ram Classic. Whether you need a truck or Jeep to haul the family to sports or tow the boat to the lake, you can find it in-store or online at langleychrysler.com. Canucks beat the Oilers 6-3. Here to talk about it on a Friday, as always, is Jeff Paterson. Jeff, thanks for doing this. How are you, sir?
Donnie, doing terrific.
20 years, we'll get to the Canucks in a second, but 20 years ago today, Team 1040 comes alive. What are your memories of that, and what did that station mean to you?
Yeah, I mean, an awful lot, obviously, over the years. I wasn't part of the original crew, but as a guy that was in radio at that time doing sports, certainly you couldn't ignore it and avoid it, and I thought it was sort of, a moment where our city had grown up, and to get our own all-sports radio was really curious how it was going to sound and play out, and ultimately I got to be a part of it starting in 2006, and there were a couple of blips along the way where there wasn't a role for me, but found my way back in, and it's so sad the way it ended, obviously, because I don't think it had ever sounded better, and I say that with all due respect to everybody that came before us, but we were humming there at the end, and obviously decisions were made that don't allow us to celebrate the 20th together on the air the way we should have, but I'm glad that you guys are taking a moment. I know some of our colleagues are doing the same today, and it's impossible. I mean, it did. It changed the face of the way we consume sports in this market. So, a hat tip to the founders way back when, and to all of us that were there on February 9th when they decided to turn out the lights.
In our next segment, by the way, folks, and Jeff, we'll have Rob Gray, longtime 1040 program director. Hey, Jeff, what's your report card? And he gets his first NHL goal last night at Edmonton, but your report card on Jack Rathbone after 2 games?
Yeah, I mean, high letter grade, B+. I don't know if you can go all the way to the top just yet. It's 2 games, but man, I've liked an awful lot of what I saw. I liked the way they handled him in his debut the other night, 12 minutes. He bumped his ice time up by about 30 seconds last night. But that goal, Donnie, that just, there's so much there. You can see it, the anticipation, the read, the reaction. I think a lot of young guys would back off in that situation, don't want to get caught pinching, and instead he's all in, and he made the right play. He read the play perfectly, scoops up the loose puck, and then, a little bit of zip on that shot, and we've seen that because he's played 10 games as a pro now, 8 down in Utica, 2 at the NHL level. He had a pair of power play goals for the Comets. He's got 3 goals in 10 games as a professional, and he's a point-a-game guy as a pro. So there's a lot to be excited about. The skating is so easily identifiable. He already skates an NHL level, and then just to build out around there. So there's lots of good reasons, I think, to be excited about Jack Rathbone the rest of the way this season, and obviously next year and beyond. And he looks like he's going to be a staple of the Canucks defense for a while here.
Jeff, about a week ago, somebody said to me, "Oh, my Besser is struggling. Where is he? Where is he?" Well, goals in 3 straight games, 20 now on the season. He's on a 34-goal pace if you play 82. Pretty good numbers for Brock this season.
Yeah, I mean, that's one of the good news stories of the season for the Canucks, and there haven't been enough of them, obviously, but he was my midseason MVP. He got off to that great start. He had 12 in his first 20, and then he did cool off. I mean, he lost his center and his good buddy, and it just stands to reason that he wasn't going to be as productive. He went a stretch there, Rick, where he had 1 even-strength goal in 19 games without Elias Pettersson. His scoring was coming on the power play, but here this week, he has returned, and he's returned. We saw a little zip on the shot with the goal he pulled the other night. He got a bit fortunate with that cross-crease pass from Höglander the other night, but you need a few of those along the way. And then last night, it's a cherry on top for the victory, but to get to 20 in a shortened season, come on, that's a really good news story for both Brock Besser and for the hockey club and for the market. a guy that had 16 last year, and there were some questions about, what is he in an 82-game season? Is he a 20-goal scorer? Is he 25? Can he get to 30? He has shown with an exclamation point that if he can stay healthy, he should be a 30-goal scorer for a bunch of seasons in the NHL. So happy to see it for him. And, there's still 8 games to go. Like, he's a bit of a streaky scorer. He's had a bunch of 2-goal games already this season. I'm probably reaching to think that 25 is possible, but, those games against Calgary late in the season, who knows what the Flames are going to look like or how much they're going to care, whether Louis Domingue gets a game or two in goal. 25 is not out of the question, and 25 would be an incredible number for Brock Boeser. And in saying all of that, guys, Boeser's at 20. He's had a terrific season. Austin Matthews is at 40. Like, just to give it a little context of what Austin Matthews is doing this year, it's insane. It's off the hook.
Jeff, the question for me is, how do they find a spot or space for Juolevi? Is he being healthy scratched? Is he not good enough? Does the coach not have the complete trust in him yet? I'm looking at Edler and Hamonic UFAs. I'm looking at Rathbone if he can step. I said this the other day, and Donnie got mad at me. But if you make room for Rathbone in the third pair, what do you see with Juolevi? His contract's up this year. He's an RFA. They got to obviously do a cheap 1-year deal with him. But is this guy ever going to become an everyday player where he is never healthy scratched?
Well, the way Rathbone has arrived on the scene, I mean, you kind of pencil him in, or maybe you actually use ink and put him on your depth chart for next year. Hughes is there. Then the question is, what is Edler's status? Do they bring him back? How much does he play? Because if Edler is around and Rathbone's going to be an everyday guy, then it kind of feels like Olli Juolevi is still going to be a depth piece for this hockey club. And I thought it was interesting. Travis Green said yesterday after the morning skate that the plan was to play Rathbone a bunch of games in a row here, and then they would probably sit him down. And, by that point, he'll have a body of work in the NHL. They can do some video work with him. The coaches can just go over his performance to that point. And I think that's twofold. One, it just gives him a breather. And the other is it'll allow Juolevi to get back in the lineup. I don't see a way that Travis Green would run out Hughes, Juolevi, and Rathbone on his left side at any point the remainder of this season. Even if it, I could make a strong case, I think, for Alex Edler to get a night off. They got the back-to-backs coming up in Winnipeg. There's another set of back-to-backs against the Flames in those games that don't mean much. But I don't see Travis Green going down that road. So Olli Juolevi's going to have to be patient, but it does kind of feel like he has been passed before our eyes here in the last couple of nights by Jack Rathbone on the left side of the Canucks defense chart.
Very quickly, Jeff, should the Canucks bring back Travis Hamonic?
I think so. But he's going to have a say in this, and if he wants some term, they got him on the bargain basement deal this year, and I think since the injury, he's been really good. He's been a stabilizing force. He's fit in with Quinn Hughes. I think yes, but it has to make sense. It has to make sense for both sides, and he's probably going to want a raise, and he might want some term. And if that's the case, then I don't know that they're going to be able to fit him in. But I certainly think that he's played well enough to have those conversations with the Vancouver Canucks. And Donnie, if he doesn't come back, we're talking about the left side here, but boy, that right side, all of a sudden, there's some real question marks about who's going to play for the Canucks next season. So it's not going to be dull this offseason. I know there's only 8 games to go. 8 games until, the real conversations begin. There's going to be no shortage of things to talk about this offseason when it comes to the Vancouver Canucks.
Jeff, thanks so much for this. Appreciate it. Talk to you next week.
Happy 20th, guys.
Yes. Same to you. Jeff Paterson.